Joining me on the broadcast for this story is Major Mohommed Shah. A very good morning, Major Mohommed Shah. Now, while Russia and Ukraine agreed on creating a safe passage for citizens, the entire plan seems to fall apart. What do you have to say to this, and how should we evacuate all Indian citizens from Ukraine, which is our #1 priority at this point?
Priyanka, firstly, it was a very good thing that, they agreed to give a safe passage to Indian students and to have a ceasefire, but that's a different thing that, after a while, the ceasefire was abrogated. But let me tell you my take. I have served in Jammu Kashmir at the border of the Indo-Pak border, 30 meters away from the Pakistan post, when there was no ceasefire in 2003, and when there was a ceasefire in 2003 at the end as well. I have served in Nagaland, where there was ceasefire with the insurgents. But when there is a ceasefire, there is bound to be abrogation. But that does not mean that the abrogation is happening from the top. It's on a very small level, which means some trigger-happy person from somewhere has gone ahead and fired and not adhered to the orders, in fact. So the orders are very clear. When there is a ceasefire, there would be no firing, but then a person can get trigger-happy. Now, when you say that the plan is not going, it's not going as per the plan, well, it is actually really very difficult actually also, Priyanka, to follow all the protocols in a war-torn country which is under siege at the moment. So yes, efforts are definitely on. I commend the Indian government. They are doing a great job. The Indian diplomats, the embassy, our ministers who had gone there. Oh, amazing. I mean, a better rescue operation, I don't think it could have been. It could have happened. And at the same time, I really appreciate the spirit, the bravery, and the morale of my young brothers and sisters who are stuck over there. My heart goes out to them. And let me tell you one more thing, Priyanka, that though I am a trained soldier, we are trained to face very, very difficult situations, and I have been through something similar. But because I am a trained soldier, so we could come out of those situations. But let me tell you, had I been in their place, in where the students are right now, being totally untrained, I don't think I would have been able to cope and manage the way, in the amazing way that they have coped with the situation. They are way, way, way ahead of what I would have been. And there's a soldier speaking over here. I'm talking about, imagine these people have gone there to train as doctors, and 20,000 of them. And one by one, and there's a war. And there are bombs falling all over. The feeling when the bullets are flying all over, I've been through that. The feeling when there are bombardments happening, I've been through that. So I can really empathize with them. And I can so relate with them, and I congratulate them. My dear friends, guys, please keep up your spirits. This too shall pass.
Absolutely, this too shall pass. Major Mohommed Shah, your reaction, as we just discussed earlier, that the ceasefire couldn't be implemented. There were ceasefire violations, and now the Defense Ministry of Russia has said that it has resumed offensive actions. Now, how do we evacuate the citizens from there? Because as we can see, that the ceasefire at this point isn't pulling through.
A very good question, Priyanka, and it's a matter of concern whether ceasefire is not really pulling through, and you say a ceasefire on ground, on paper, and on ground something else happens. Well, they also have to understand that there were abrogations of ceasefire. It wasn't as simple as, okay, you give a safe passage. No. Yes, the shelling was reduced. I would say it would reduce. If that is what they call ceasefire, I'm afraid they do not know the meaning of ceasefire, their defense ministry. They have to reconsider that. There is now, evacuating people in shelling is a very, very dangerous thing. The intention of being evacuated and escaping from there is that you are safe, right? You can escape from your underground shelter, from your bunker, so that you can go to a neighboring country and fly out back to home, back to India from there. But what if, during the shelling, when you're traveling, when something happens there, God forbid, it is very, very dangerous. So the only ways, right now, the advice would be, at least had I been there, I would have just stayed put until I know for confirmation that yes, a safe passage has been given, there is a confirmed ceasefire. For that, you have to listen to the Government of India advisory, the embassy advisory, when they advise, because our relationships with both the countries are good, and we have been keeping communication with them, and the moment they say, okay, there's a ceasefire announced, that is the time, as they say, make hay when the sun shines. The moment they ceasefire announced, And there could be a possibility, don't consider it foolproof, there could be a possibility of somebody who's trigger happy, who's sitting there, but yes, at the same time, it would be reduced, it would be marginalized to a large extent. So the only way is just the moment you get the advisory, just shoot off straight away. I mean, don't wait. Every single moment, every second is important. So 1 second can actually save, or it can take a life. 1 single second. I learned that in the army, and that is the reason why army people are very particular about every single second of the time. Now, when you are trying to evacuate, be alert. Do not, I know you would be sleepy. It's a human nature, because you would be tired, you would be hungry, you would be wanting to go for a nature call, but try controlling yourself, try having a good self-control, because it's a matter of life and death. And in a situation like this, where it's a matter of life and death, one is willing to go to any extent. So, my dear friends who are there, and I am really very proud to call myself from a person from the forces, the Indian Air Force is doing a commendable job, really commendable. And India has proved it time and again that they really, really are in the favor of humanity, not just for our Indian nationals, but for foreign nationals as well. India also gave issued a statement that we will evacuate any Asian who is in dire need, who is in need of help. So it's not just about evacuating our students, we are going all out to evacuate everyone, and please hold strong and think positively, everyone.
Absolutely, that's about evacuation, but there are also serious consequences of a war. Now, the IMF has warned that the already serious global economic impacts of the war in Ukraine would be all the more devastating should the conflict escalate. Major Mohommed Shah, now IMF has also warned that there would be global economic impacts of the war in Ukraine. Have we already started seeing the signs? Because India is not going to be unescaped from the global impact of a war here.
Priyanka, absolutely. You know, every single person is going to be affected by this war, directly or indirectly. Now, people speculate, will it lead to a world war or not? But that's a different thing altogether. Even if it does not lead to a world war, which I hope it would not, and I presume that's my analysis, it should not. But at the same time, the global economy is going to be hit very, very badly. The ruble has already fallen down, and the markets are down. And the oil prices, the gas prices, they are just shooting up. But if you see also, there are so many sanctions on Russia. But at the end of the day, when the oil prices and the fuel prices go up, who benefits from it? Russia is the third largest producer of oil in the world. So indirectly, Russia also would be benefiting from it. But now, when the global economy is down, we have to be very, very careful, because as it is, the world was bad enough. The economy of the world, because of the coronavirus, the pandemic, the biological warfare, it was really, really bad as it is. And now when it is we have to now tread very, very carefully, and it's trying time for all of us, Priyanka.
Now, Major Mohommed Shah, Blinken meets Ukraine's foreign minister, and a show of solidarity comes at a time where Ukraine is facing an attack from the Russian forces. How important is this move at this point?
Certainly, it is a very, very important move, and it shows solidarity when Anthony Blinken meets the other foreign ministers. It shows that they are with them. And let me tell you, Russia made a big mistake in a lot of ways. Firstly, the sympathy that Russia had towards them, by some people who were saying that, no, it's not fair. I mean, Ukraine also, America, firstly, I would totally blame America for the entire ruckus, Priyanka, to be very, very honest. And it is America who should not have got Ukraine tempted into this, and their hands dirty into this. So America is basically firing the gun from Ukraine's shoulder. And now at the same time, but now America is also trying to help Ukraine in whatever way by giving arms and ammunition, and Ukraine is inviting foreign, apart from civilians, they have issued out weapons to the civilians, yes, but they are calling foreign nationals also, which would be mercenaries who would come in from Iraq, who are already coming in from Iraq, from Syria, and they're putting up a tough fight. So Russia miscalculated that, Ukraine is a small strip. What will they do to us? They would not. We'll probably capture them. We'll probably get inside, and it's a matter of hours. 1 day is too much to ask for. It's been over 10 days now. So it was a gross miscalculation from Russia's side, and a lesson driven home to all of us, in fact. Never underestimate anyone. Never underestimate the size. We never know what the other party is capable of. It's like seeing an elephant and an ant fight. Well, if the ant wants, the elephant thinks he can trample the ant. But if the ant wants, it can get into the trunk of the elephant and give the elephant and create havoc for the elephant actually. So yes, the golden question is, how long will Kiev take to fall? Well, in my analysis, I see Kiev not falling in the next 1 week, Priyanka. That is what my analysis is. People are expecting that under 1 day or 2 days. They're putting up a tough fight. They are fighting. Like, I really appreciate and commend the spirit and the bravery and the spirit of patriotism and nationalism of the Ukraine nationals. I personally was against the fact that civilians should not be given weapons because it is not easy to handle. There would be accidental fires, there would be accidents, and these civilians in the long run would be termed as militants at the end of the day. They're all criminals. So, but that is a different point altogether. But at the same time, I would say that yes, Ukraine is putting up a tough fight, and yes, when Anthony Blinken expresses solidarity, it really sends out a message loud and clear to the people who are affected by the war. Because let's see, even Russians are affected very, very badly. They have been totally taken by surprise. That is, the element of surprise plays a major factor in any war, in any military action. So yes, when the West actually expresses solidarity, it really goes a long way and gives a very good message.